Welcome to the Deep Dive. This is where we take the sources you share with us, articles, research, maybe even your own notes, and really dig in to pull out the most important bits of knowledge and insight. It's kind of a shortcut to getting well-informed on something specific.
Exactly. And today we're diving into a book called The A to Z of Practical Wisdom-Wise Practical Ideas to Improve Your Life. It's by Lorraine Hockley, published back in 2010.
And what's interesting about Lorraine Hockley, right, is how she presents herself. She says she's just an average person, a wife and mother, uh, definitely not a guru, and doesn't follow one.
Yeah, she's quite clear about that. She apparently wrote it because she was, quote, tired of reading airy-fairy books with little substance. She wanted to offer really practical strategies, things that actually, work in real life.
I like that approach straight away. Her goal, she says passionately, is to make life as painless, as joyful, and as successful as possible. Basically giving actionable advice to lighten your load.
Sounds good to me.
So that's our mission today. We want to explore some of these foundational insights from her book, things that might help you navigate challenges, find some inner peace, maybe make more intentional choices, and really honor your true self. So let's jump in.
Okay.
Right. So first up is a concept that can, well, really change how you experience daily life. Acceptance.
And it's key to understand what she means by acceptance. It's not just resigning yourself to things. It's more about allowing life to unfold.
Okay.
And that involves, according to the book, learning tolerance and patience, and also trusting what she calls the universal plan. So there's a bit of a philosophical underpinning there, you know? Trusting a bigger picture.
Right. Kind of faith in how things work out.
Yeah.
And she points out something quite revealing about human nature, doesn't she? This why me fallacy.
Oh, definitely. It's that common thing, isn't it? Something bad happens, your car gets a flat tire, you miss a flight, and the first thought is often, why me? This isn't fair.
Yeah, we've all been there.
But then she asks, think about when something great happens. You get an unexpected bonus or find a perfect parking spot right away. Do you ever question that?
Huh. No. You just think, fantastic, I deserve this.
Yeah.
Or my lucky day.
Exactly. And that's the insight. We tend to accept the good stuff without question, but we fight against the bad, seeing it as unfair. It shows this sort of selective approach we have to fate or just, how things happen.
That's a really sharp observation. Makes you check yourself, doesn't it? She argues that real emotional maturity comes from practicing acceptance no matter what's happening, good or bad.
And each day is like a blank canvas. You get to choose your attitude. You can choose resentment or self-pity, or you can consciously choose acceptance.
And it's not just for the big dramatic life events either. It applies to the small stuff too.
Right. There's this story from Reader's Digest she shares about a man who'd always dreamed of having his own private den. Finally, his oldest kid moves out. He thinks, great, my den.
Ah, the dream room.
Yeah. But then, just weeks later, his elderly father gets sick and needs full-time care. So the dad moves into that very room. The den dream goes out the window.
Oh, wow. Okay, so how does acceptance play in?
Well, the story goes, the first night, as the man is leaving his father's new room, he has this sudden realization, this flash of insight. He thinks, this is my life right now, not how I want it to be one day.
Wow.
And apparently that thought brought him this huge sense of peace because it made him notice and appreciate what was actually there, right under his nose. A comfy house, good food, a great partner, healthy kids.
So accepting the reality, even though it wasn't the planned reality, allowed him to see the richness that was already present.
Precisely. Finding contentment now, not just waiting for some future ideal. And then she contrasts this with acceptance for the big stuff. There's the story of Marguerite.
Right. Marguerite's story is intense. She lost a baby, stillborn, and the trauma also that she couldn't have more children. Just devastating.
Absolutely devastating. But instead of, being completely consumed by that grief, she channeled all that energy into becoming this really dynamic expert in education, focused outwards.
And her work is now getting international attention, the book says. That's what Hockley calls turning adversity into triumph. Acceptance at its highest level, making a huge difference for thousands of kids.
It's an incredible example of resilience.
But what if you don't accept? What's the consequence then?
Well, Hockley uses this really vivid analogy. She says lacking acceptance is like trying to swim against the current in a river.
Oh, okay, I can picture that.
You're fighting it, you're struggling, maybe getting scared, maybe cursing the river, but you make no progress. You just end up exhausted, frustrated, resentful.
Like just burning energy and getting nowhere.
Exactly. Whereas if you choose to float with the current, You allow life to just flow naturally. You trust it'll carry you where you need to go to your rightful destination. It's about letting go of that fight.
That makes a lot of sense. And she offers a practical tool for this.
She does. The serenity prayer. You probably know it. God grant me serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the
A
difference.
classic. And she uses it herself.
Yeah, she gives a really down-to-earth example. Like, applying it to her teenage daughter's messy room. That's something to accept, right? A minor issue, not worth a huge battle.
Okay, yeah. Annoying, but maybe not changeable without constant war.
Right. Versus, say, discovering her daughter was using drugs, that would absolutely require the courage to change things, to intervene. It's that wisdom to know the difference. That's the key part.
A crucial distinction.
Definitely. Her point is, without acceptance, life becomes this monumental struggle. So she encourages you, the listener, to maybe just pick one unresolved issue in your life today and decide to work towards accepting it. Just feel the peace that might come from that.
It's a powerful invitation. And that quote from St. Teresa of Avila really captures it. Let nothing disturb thee, let nothing dismay thee, all things pass.
Beautifully put.
Okay, so acceptance grounds us. But life keeps throwing things at us, right? We have to juggle. Which leads perfectly into the next big idea, balance.
Mm-hmm. And the core idea here isn't just about, like, scheduling things perfectly. It's about creating a calm, balanced center inside yourself.
A center, like a home base.
Sort of. A
Yeah.
place you venture out from to live life, and a place you return to for spiritual nourishment, as she puts it. Life is this constant ebb and flow, and she actually says we were born in a state of perfect balance. We just kind of lose it along the way.
We definitely feel that juggling act, don't we? Trying to keep everything work, family, health, finances all up in the air.
Totally. And she actually developed a coaching exercise to help with this called juggling balls. It's meant to be a sort of blueprint for finding balance.
Okay, juggling balls. Let's break that down. What's step one?
Step one, you just list all the different parts of your life. You're juggling balls. So things like marriage or partnership, children, career, your home, finances, physical health, emotional health, leisure time, friends, maybe social contributions, time just for relaxing, even future dreams. You list them all out.
Got it. Just get it all down on paper. Then what?
Step two, rate how satisfied you currently are with each area. Use a scale, say 1 for totally dissatisfied, up to 10 for totally satisfied. Be honest with yourself.
Okay, current satisfaction rating makes sense. Step three.
Step three, rate where you'd like to be on that same 1 to 10 scale, maybe within, say, 6 months. And she stresses it's not just about picking a number, but really trying to feel what that higher level of satisfaction would be like visualize it.
Ah, so engage the feeling, not just the intellect.
Okay.
And the final step.
Step four, you look at the difference between your current score, step 2, and your desired score, step 3, for each ball. Then you order them, starting with the one that has the biggest gap, that's your most challenging area, down to the one with the smallest gap, which are probably quite satisfying already.
Right. And the big insight comes here, doesn't it?
It does. What most people realize is they spend most of their energy juggling the easy balls, the ones they're already good at or satisfied with.
Yeah. We stick to what feels comfortable.
Exactly. And the challenging ones, the ones with the big gaps, they're left languishing on the ground. So the whole point of the exercise is to become conscious of that and to deliberately scoop those neglected juggling balls off the ground and keep them in the air, too. Give them some attention.
Okay, so it's about consciously addressing the neglected areas. How do you keep track of that, though? Life gets busy.
Good question. She suggests a simple tool called taking inventory. All you need is a pen, a notebook, and she says 15 minutes a week. She calls it a miracle catch-up with yourself.
15 minutes a week? Sounds manageable. What do you do?
You just list those challenging aspects, the ones with the big gaps from your juggling exercise. Make a quick note. Did you make any progress this week? Any setbacks? Then list maybe one general win for the week. Win. I finally cleaned out the garage. And one general challenge. Challenge, I need more exercise. And maybe jot down an action for the challenge, like actually scheduling that walk in your diary.
I like that. It's like a mini review. Keeps those tricky balls from getting completely dropped again.
Exactly. It just keeps them on your radar. Now, if you're doing this and you're still feeling really out of whack, she introduces another technique. HLT.
H-A-L-T, like stop.
Yeah, it's an acronym. Stands for hungry, angry, lonely, tired. It's a quick check for obvious physical or emotional reasons why you might feel off balance.
Okay, let's go through them. H is hungry.
Right. Feeling irritable or headachy, maybe it's just low blood sugar. Have a quick healthy snack, fruit, some crackers, cheese, might be all it takes.
Simple enough. A is angry.
Yeah. Are you holding on to some resentment, some unresolved anger simmering away? That creates huge emotional turmoil. You need to sort of ferret them out so you can move on with your life. Deal with it, basically.
Makes sense. L is lonely.
We all need connection. She says everyone needs at least one person who understands, loves, and accepts us completely. Someone you can share your burdens with. If you feel isolated, finding that person or connecting with them is your mission.
Connection is vital. And T is tired.
Tiredness. Obvious but often ignored. If you're chronically tired, feeling drained isn't balance. She says you have to make a conscious decision to build in rest, short breaks, earlier bedtimes. You need that energy and calm.
So HAT is like a first aid kit for feeling unbalanced. Check these basics first.
Pretty much. And she adds a little note. If HALT and the inventory aren't helping, you might be obsessed with one particular juggling ball. Maybe work, maybe a relationship issue. And it's okay, she says, to consciously decide to put that ball down for a bit, especially if it's wrecking your health, just to get some balance back.
That's important permission to give yourself. Sometimes you do need to step back. She also talks about less is more, right? With Susan's story.
Oh yeah, Susan's story is a real wake-up call example. She was a wife, a mother, and juggling 3 part-time nursing jobs. 3.
Wow, that's intense.
Predictably, she became very stressed and tired, and it culminated in a major back injury that landed her in the hospital for 6 weeks.
Ouch. A literal breaking point.
Literally. And that forced break became her wake-up call. She realized she couldn't sustain that pace. Her theme for the whole next year became less is more.
So what changed?
Drastic long-term change. Today, the book says she has just one part-time job, which gives her actual space for relaxing and spending time with her family, and she actively has to resist that pull, that adrenaline of being frantically busy.
It can be addictive, that busyness buzz.
Totally. But the key takeaway Hockley draws is blunt. Don't be tempted to think that you can work at a dizzying pace indefinitely and get away with it. You need to invest time to do less. As she says, there are no prizes for the highest juggling ball.
That's a great line. It puts things in perspective. And there's that quote from Clarissa Pinkola Estes that fits so well here.
Oh, yeah. If we live as we breathe, take in and let go, we cannot go wrong. It echoes that ebb and flow idea.
Beautiful. Okay, so from acceptance and balance, we move naturally into the power of choices.
This chapter really hammers home the idea that learning to make wise choices is why you are here. It's fundamental to our purpose.
And there's no escaping it, right?
This
She says
isn't-
no going back, no standing still, only moving forward, making choices every moment of every day.
It's constant. But the really empowering part is her belief that it's entirely possible to live your life exactly as you want, even while still meeting the reasonable needs of people around you. It's not about being selfish, but about being intentional.
So what gets in the way? If it's possible, why don't we always do it?
Well, a major culprit she identifies is expectations, specifically the expectations other people place on us, colleagues, friends, community members. We often weaken in the face of requests, she says, and start believing we have no choice but to submit.
Oh, I know that feeling. She uses that school PTA example, right?
Yeah.
Where someone expects you to run the same stall at the fair for the 5th year running.
Exactly. And even though you really want to break, you just hear yourself saying yes automatically. That feeling of being obligated or trapped by others' assumptions.
Been there, done that. So what's her strategy for dealing with that?
It's brilliantly simple, actually. When you feel cornered by other people's expectations, just say, I'll get back to you.
Buys you time.
Exactly. It stops you from giving that immediate, potentially resentful yes. Then she suggests taking a moment later to brainstorm. List all the possible scenarios related to the situation, she says, even improbable ones. Just get all the options out. And then listen to your gut, your intuition. Which option strikes a chord and lifts your spirits?
So reconnect with what you actually want or feel capable of in that situation.
Precisely. Going back to that PTA example, the person uses the I'll get back to you line. Then they realize, okay, they do want to contribute to the school fair. They just really don't want to attend the whole thing or run that stall again.
Okay, so what's their alternative?
Their intuition leads them to think about baking. So they choose to make a batch of sweets, toffee, fudge, coconut ice for the cake stall instead. They even get their kids involved, making it a fun activity.
Ah, so they found a way to contribute that felt good to them. It's a win-win, as Hockley calls it. The school gets help, they contribute meaningfully, but on their own terms.
Exactly. It's about finding that choice that aligns with you, rather than just submitting to the expectation.
That's a really practical way to handle those everyday pressures.
What about bigger life choices? Feeling generally stuck or discontent?
Yeah, she addresses that too. She suggests that when you're feeling that kind of general dissatisfaction, it can be really helpful to pull back and examine the bigger picture, and then choose a positive theme to focus on improving your life over, say, the next 6 months. A life theme, like what?
Okay, so her example is someone whose life feels very speedy and stressful, just constantly rushing, feeling frazzled. They might choose serenity as their theme for the next 6 months.
Serenity. I like it. How do you make that practical?
Well, you make it visible. Write serenity on sticky notes, put them on your bathroom mirror, in your diary, on your car dashboard, places you'll see it often. It's a constant reminder, an affirmation of what you're choosing.
So it stays top of mind.
Right. And then, naturally, you start making small adjustments aligned with that theme. Maybe you start playing soothing classical music when you're stuck in traffic instead of getting wound up. Maybe you get up 15 minutes earlier to have a calmer start to the day. Or take a leisurely walk at lunchtime instead of eating at your desk.
Small shifts driven by the theme.
Exactly. And she claims that you'll start feeling the benefits within maybe 2 months, feel rejuvenated in 4, and by 6 months, you're likely settled into your new way of life. All because you consciously chose that positive theme and kept it in focus.
That's quite powerful. Choosing an intention and letting it guide your micro choices. What else does she suggest choosing?
Something really simple, but maybe overlooked. Choose fun.
Choose fun. I like the sound of that.
She asks, point blank, how often do you choose to have fun? And she asserts that you can choose to do it anytime. It's just a matter of remembering. Fun doesn't have to be a big planned vacation. It can be squeezed into most busy days.
Okay, give me some examples. What kind of fun are we talking about?
Oh, she gives some wonderfully whimsical ones, like playing old-fashioned kids' games, old-maid pickup sticks, remember those?
Yeah, vaguely.
Or just swooping on a swing at the park for a minute, having a spontaneous tickle fest with your kids or partner, watching a cartoon movie together, playing board games or charades, building a small campfire for marshmallows, even if it's just in the backyard. She says the only limit is your imagination.
It's about injecting playfulness, isn't it?
Yes, and also choosing activities outside your closely structured life, things that push your comfort zone a bit and let you experience a whole different way of being.
Like what?
Like if you're always very serious and businesslike, maybe choose to go see a silly kids pantomime. If you're generally quite fearful, maybe you choose to do something that scares you a little, like, I don't know, a rock climbing wall, or even a bungee jump if you're brave. If you're self-conscious about speaking, maybe join a Toastmasters or public speaking club.
So consciously choosing experiences that stretch you in a fun or different way.
Exactly. It shakes things up. And that Goethe quote she includes sums it up perfectly. Plunge boldly into the thick of life. Don't just stick to the safe and predictable choices.
Love that. Okay, acceptance, balanced choices. And the final cornerstone piece, maybe the most important, you matter.
Absolutely fundamental. This chapter starts with this incredibly strong affirmation. You are the most important being in the universe.
Wow, that's a statement.
It is. And she follows it by saying, God created everyone to be equal, and for you to think less of yourself is to insult his handiwork. The ultimate goal, she states very clearly, is to love yourself.
That's the foundation. And she links this directly to how people treat us, right? The doormat idea.
Yeah, she draws a sharp contrast. There are people who seem to just command respect wherever they go, and then there are others who feel like walking doormats.
We've all seen both types.
And the difference, she argues, isn't necessarily about being aggressive or demanding. It's about fundamentally believing you deserve to be treated well. And crucially, having strong, healthy boundaries that signal you won't tolerate abusive or disrespectful behavior. People with no boundaries, she says quite directly, essentially invite others to take advantage.
So boundaries are key to self-respect and how others perceive you. How does she define boundaries?
Is having clear limits. Knowing for yourself what behavior is acceptable and what is totally unacceptable from others towards you.
Okay. And there's a story here too, isn't there? About Lydia.
Yes, a really compelling one. Lydia lives in Australia. Her sister, who lives back in the UK, does something pretty outrageous. She sends a homesick teenage friend of the family over to Australia, basically tells her to go knock on Lydia's door without any warning.
Oh my goodness. Just shows up unannounced from the other side of the world.
Pretty much. Lydia is busy, has her own life, but this teenager is on her doorstep, upset. Lydia feels pressured, guilty, awkward, so she lets her in.
Oh dear. How did that turn out?
Not well. The girl ends up staying for 3 nights. Lydia becomes highly distressed by the whole situation, feeling completely put upon and unable to say no effectively once the girl was inside.
What a nightmare. So what was the lesson for Lydia?
It was crystal clear for her. By putting the unexpected guest's perceived needs and her sister's lack of consideration ahead of her own needs and boundaries, she allowed the situation to escalate and ended up being taken advantage of. The big lesson was about strengthening her boundaries and learning to trust her initial gut instinct, which was probably screaming, "This isn't okay."
That's a tough lesson, but so important. Why is it so hard sometimes to just say no or state our boundary clearly?
It often comes down to fear, doesn't it? Fear of conflict, fear of disappointing someone, fear of being seen as selfish or unkind. But Hockley offers a technique for handling these tricky conversations, especially if you feel intimidated or the situation is emotionally charged. She calls it neutral communication.
Neutral communication. Okay, how does that work?
It's a step-by-step process to help you respond calmly instead of reacting emotionally. Step 1, excuse yourself briefly. Create some space. If you're on the phone, say something like, "Sorry, something's just come up. Can I call you back in a few minutes?" If you're face-to-face, maybe say, "Excuse me, I just need to use the bathroom."
Okay, buy yourself a moment alone. Step 2.
Step 2, calm down. Once you're in that private space, take a few deep breaths. Just focus on slowing your heart rate, letting the initial emotional surge subside. Give your logical brain a chance to catch up.
Right, regulate the physical response. Then step 3?
Step 3, this is the interesting bit. Visualize your wallpaper person. Think of someone in your life you neither love nor dislike. Maybe the checkout person at your usual supermarket, or someone you vaguely know from work, someone who's just there in the background of your life like wallpaper. You don't have strong feelings about them either way.
Okay, a neutral figure. Got it. And step 4?
Step 4, resume the conversation. Go back to the person you were talking to, but now communicate with them as if they were that neutral wallpaper person.
I see. So you detach from the emotional charge.
Exactly. It diffuses that highly charged atmosphere. It allows you to state your needs or your boundary calmly and reasonably without getting drawn into their emotional energy or your own reactivity.
That's a really clever psychological trick. Use neutrality to bypass the emotional triggers.
Very effective, and Hockley stresses your feelings do matter. This isn't about becoming cold or uncaring, and you certainly don't need to become a tyrant to protect yourself. It's simply about being clear about what behavior is acceptable and what is not. Making that decision to create boundaries is, she says, a personal, private, empowering decision.
Empowering. I like that. And there's one more element to this you matter piece, isn't there? The support crew.
Yes, your personal support crew. This is crucial. She defines this as your network of people who genuinely love you unconditionally, who support and encourage you, and who never put you down.
The people who truly have your back, no strings attached.
Precisely. And she shares Fran's story to illustrate this. Fran was planning a big career change into fashion design. As part of her planning, she consciously identified her support crew.
Who was on the list?
Her partner and 3 close friends made the cut. But here's the tough part. She had to reluctantly admit that even some people she loved dearly, like her parents and her sister, couldn't be on that unconditional support list for this specific venture.
Why not?
Because in this context, their love came with conditions. Maybe disapproval of her choice, maybe a bit of jealousy disguised as concern. They weren't able to offer purely unconditional support for this particular dream.
Wow, that takes real honesty to recognize that, even with family.
It does. It's not about cutting people off, but about understanding who fills which role. Your true support crew, Hockley says, is like oxygen. They enhance your life, they support your existence, really, without criticism or opinion on your core self or dreams.
That's a powerful analogy. Like oxygen.
And she encourages you, the listener, to think about who your unconditional support crew is. And maybe even tell them how much they mean to you. Acknowledge that gift.
Definitely worth doing. And that Mark Twain quote she uses really drives it home.
Oh, yeah. Keep away from people who try to belittle your ambitions. The really great make you feel that you too can become great.
Choose your crew wisely.
Absolutely. Wow, what a fantastic deep dive that was into Lorraine Hockley's A to Z of practical wisdom. We've covered some really powerful ground, haven't we? We really have, starting with that fundamental piece that can come from acceptance.
Yeah, and then moving into the practical tools for achieving balance, like that juggling balls exercise and HLT.
Then the empowering realization that we have choices, using themes, or even just choosing fun.
And finally, grounding it all in that core truth that you matter, which means setting boundaries and cultivating that vital support group.
And the whole point of this deep dive, mirroring Hockley's own aim, was really to offer things you can actually use. Actionable strategies, tangible insights.
Not just theory, things to hopefully genuinely lighten your load and improve things day to day.
Exactly, moving from ideas to, actual practice.
Right. So as we wrap up, we want to leave you with one final, quite profound thought from the book. It's attributed to Elie Wiesel, and it really ties together these themes of self-worth and purpose.
It's a powerful one. It goes, "When you die and go to heaven, our Maker is not going to ask, 'Why didn't you discover the cure for such and such?' The only question we will be asked is, 'Why didn't you become you?'"
Why didn't you become you? That really makes you pause, doesn't it?
It does. It's a deep invitation, really, to reflect on what it truly means for you to become fully yourself in this lifetime.
So maybe as you go about the rest of your day, just mull that over. And perhaps think about making just one tiny change, one small choice today that brings you a little bit closer to honoring that unique self, to becoming you.